All right, hello everyone. Today we are jumping right into a punchy, highly focused 5-minute breakdown of something I think we all find deeply frustrating. I'm talking about why we face the exact same repeating problems in our lives over and over again. But more importantly, we're going to look at how to finally break that cycle. We're pulling some absolutely brilliant insights directly from a presentation by Pastor Myunghoon, and we're going to map out exactly what's going on behind the scenes of these repeating struggles. Let's get into it. So tell me if you've ever done this. You quit a job, right? You just have to escape this completely toxic manager. You walk into your brand new office on Monday morning, feeling great, only to realize your new boss has the exact same toxic personality as the last one. No way, right? Or maybe you leave a relationship, or even a community group because of a specific draining conflict, only to find yourself having that literal exact same argument with totally different people a year later. It's like a glitch in the matrix. Well, Pastor Gatto defines this perfectly as spiritual déjà vu. It's that exhausting experience of facing the exact same type of conflict, failure, or problem repeatedly in your life. Now, when this happens to us, our default reaction is pretty predictable, isn't it? We blame bad luck, we beat ourselves up over our unpoor choices, or we just assume the universe is out to get us. But what if we completely flipped the script on why these patterns actually happen? To illustrate this shift, let's look at a fascinating historical case study, the ancient Israelites. So they reached the border of their promised land at Kadesh Barnea, but faced with giant obstacles, they completely panic. They complain, they doubt, and they totally fail the test. The result? 40 years of wandering in the wilderness. But notice what happens exactly 40 years later. They arrive at the border again, and right in front of them is an incredibly massive, impenetrable obstacle, the walls of Jericho. They are right back in the exact same scenario. So why do we end up back at Jericho? Well, here's a major paradigm shift for you. Repeating problems are not a punishment designed to condemn you for your past failures. Actually, scratch that. They are the exact opposite. They are a divine opportunity designed for you to finally win. Think about when Jesus recreated the exact scenario of a charcoal fire to restore Peter, right after Peter had denied him by a charcoal fire. You're brought back to the scene of your failure, not to be mocked, but so you can finally overcome it. Okay, so if these repeating problems are actually tests we're meant to pass, how do we actually pull this off? The presentation lays out a rapid-fire 3-step actionable framework to break this cycle for good. Number 1, acknowledge that this is a test. Number 2, embrace silence. And number 3, shout in faith. Let's zoom in on exactly how steps 2 and 3 work in real life. To really get this, we have to contrast our natural human habits with the strategy required to actually win. The Israelites' habit, and let's be totally honest here, our habit too, was to open their mouths, complain, spread negativity, and just panic the absolute second things looked bad. But the command they were given at Jericho was completely counterintuitive. March around those massive walls in complete and total silence. Not a single whisper, not one complaint. This brings us to a really fascinating Hebrew concept behind this silence, which is salah. You've probably seen this word in the Psalms. It translates to a purposeful pause. Look, this is not about giving up or just sticking your head in the sand. It is the active, strategic choice to close your mouth to your own complaints, your anxiety, and the world's noise so you can actually open your heart to see what God is doing. If you're busy complaining, you literally can't see the strategy. And that sets up the final step of the framework, teruah. After days of this silent, obedient marching, the command was to let out a massive, loud shout. But this wasn't an angry scream of frustration. Teruah is a loud shout of praise that welcomes the divine presence. And here is the real kicker, the absolute game changer. This shout is delivered before the victory is actually seen. They didn't shout because the wall fell down. They shouted while the massive, terrifying wall was still standing right in front of their faces. I want you to remember this. The wall doesn't fall before the shout. It falls after it. Victory over our repeating life cycles, whether that's a toxic workplace, a deeply ingrained bad habit, or a relational conflict, it comes when we offer faith and gratitude before the problem physically disappears. You silence the complaints, and you replace them with a declaration of victory. So, as we wrap up this quick explainer, I want to leave you with a lingering question. What is your Jericho today? What is that one stubborn problem that just keeps popping up in your life over and over again? And more importantly, now that you're armed with this framework, how will you face it differently this time around? Are you going to complain, or will you embrace the silence of Salah and the faithful shout of Teruah? Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Take this framework, apply it, and go break those cycles.